Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. So today's video is a walkthrough of a GCSE maths question from 2011, where only 0.9% of the GCSE cohort back then could answer this, well, get full marks. So I'll be going through exactly how to tackle this question, but please leave in the comments if you have any further questions about this. And any further suggestions. So I hope you enjoy the video. Okay, so let's read the question. Diagram shows a solid cone and a solid hemisphere. The cone has a base of radius x centimeters and a height of h centimeters as shown here. The hemisphere has a radius of x centimeters. The surface area of the cone is equal to the surface area of the hemisphere. Okay. Find an expression for h in terms of x. Okay, so we need to work out the surface area of each of these shapes, but we are given these equations, okay? So you need to look for them in your formula sheets or formula booklet. So we have the equation for the surface area of a sphere and the curved surface of the cone. By the curved surface, they mean this whole part, the curved part of the cone, remember, not including this circle. Okay. Alright, so let's start off with the surface area of the hemisphere. Remember, this is a hemisphere, not a sphere, so we would have to actually take half of this, half of that equation. So how do we do that? Half of 4 pi r squared is 2 pi r squared. You do that just 4 pi r squared divided by 2, or half of 4, which is 2 pi r squared. Okay, 2 pi r squared. Okay, so that should, remember, if we had a sphere, that is the surface area of the whole sphere. Okay, but if we cut the sphere in half, we expose this circular base. So we need to include that in its surface area as well. So what is the equation of a circle? It's pi r squared. Okay, so altogether our surface area of a hemisphere, so surface area of hemisphere is 2 pi r squared plus pi r squared, which is the same as 3 pi r squared, because 2 plus 1 of these pi r squared equals 3 pi r squared. Okay, so now let's get rid of that. Okay, so by the way, they labelled radius as x. So to make it easier for ourselves, let's replace this r with x. Okay, so x here, x here. Okay, so the surface area of this hemisphere is 3 pi x squared. Okay, let's work out the surface area of this cone. Okay, so let's just do the bottom circle part, which is easy because it's just the equation of a circle. Pi x squared. We replace the r with the x. Okay, now the curved surface area of the cone is pi times the radius times the length. What is the length? Sorry, so we've been given the h, height, the radius. Length is actually from the tip of the cone to the base. That is the length. Okay, but we need to work that length out. If I get rid of these circles and if I join the height with the base, I get a right angle triangle. Okay, so let me redraw that out. Okay, just quickly get a rubber. Okay, so we've got L we've got x, and we've got h. To work out what L is, what do we do? So if we have a right angled triangle, think of Pythagoras. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where c squared is the hypotenuse. Our hypotenuse is L squared. So we have h squared plus x squared equals L squared. Okay, so what does that mean for L? We can't introduce another letter into this equation. We should keep it in terms of h and x. So if L squared equals h squared plus x squared, L is the same as square root of h squared plus x squared. Okay, so we have now the surface area of this is pi times x times L. We know L is square root of h squared plus x squared. Okay, so let's get rid of that. So the total surface area of that cone is pi x squared plus pi x square root of h squared plus x squared. Okay, now let's equate this surface area with this surface area. So 3 pi x squared equals pi x squared plus pi x square root of h squared plus x squared. Okay, alright, so question is find an expression for h in terms of x. So we need h equals something. That's what that means. Find an expression for h in terms of x. Okay, so let's try and rearrange this equation so we get h on its own. Okay, so we can get rid of this easily. So we can just minus this to get onto the other side. So we get 3 pi x squared minus pi x squared equals pi x square root of h squared plus x squared. Okay, we can also now get rid of this. How do we do that? So this pi x is actually being multiplied to all of this. Okay, so to get rid of this component, we just do the opposite of this operation, which is divide. So we need to divide this side by pi x. Okay, because basically if I divide this side by pi x, I'm basically cancelling this out. Okay, so let's see what we get. 3 pi x squared minus pi x squared equals, and then divide that by pi x equals square root of h squared plus x squared. Okay, now let's simplify this a bit more. So forget about this side for now. Let's look here. Let's simplify the top. I should have done this before, but we can do it now. How do we simplify 3 pi x squared minus pi x squared? Well, that's the same as doing 3 take away 1, because these are the like terms. Okay, so we're just going to do 3 take away 1, which is 2. So therefore 3 pi x squared minus pi x squared should leave us with 2 pi x squared. Okay, now let's further simplify this now. Okay, this is basically 2 pi x squared divided by pi x. Now how do I do this? So if I divide pi by pi, I get 1. So that basically cancels out. So we can cross those two out. So pi divided by pi is just 1. You can leave it like this, so 2 times 1, but there's no point of doing that. So you could literally just leave it as 2 times 1 over 2 times 1 times x squared over x. Okay, so we've cancelled out our pi's. Now let's do x squared divided by x. Okay, so that's the same as doing x times x divided by x. Okay, now we can either do x times x then divide by x, or we can just do x times x divided by x, if that makes sense. So so this is basically x divided by x is just 1. Imagine doing 5 divided by 5, just 1. So then we have x times 1 left over. Okay, or you can just think of it, okay, I have 2 x's, then I'm dividing by 1x, so I get rid of one of them. Okay, so x squared divided by x is just x. Okay, so this is a whole number, x. So this cancels to give us just x at the top. So this simplifies into 2x. Okay, so 2x equals square root of h squared plus x squared. Okay, so we have 2x equals h squared plus x squared. We need to make h still the subject, still not the subject, yeah? So now we have to figure out what is in the way of h squared. First of all, we need to look from the outside. This square root is in the way. Okay, so to get rid of that, we need to do the opposite of square rooting, which is squaring, so something squared. So we need to square the other side. So what is 2x squared? So we square everything inside the bracket, so 2 squared is 4, x squared is x squared. Okay, so we've got rid of that now. 4x squared equals h squared plus x squared. Okay, now what's in the way of h? X squared is. And x squared is being added onto h squared, so the opposite of adding is taking away. So we need to take away from the other side. So 4x squared, take away x squared equals h squared. Let's simplify this, which is 3x squared, 4 take away 1 is 3, so 3x squared equals h squared. Okay, we're nearly there. We still don't have h on its own. We want h equals something. So the final thing that's in the way of h is the square. Opposite of squaring is square rooting. So let's square root the other side. So the square root of 3x squared equals h. So now we've got h in terms of x. Okay, so for a neater answer, we can separate this into root 3 times root of x squared. But the root of x squared is just x. So imagine, some students find this a bit confusing, so I'll just explain how it is. So imagine you do 4 squared and then you square root that again. So 4 squared is 16. Now square root of 16 is 4. You're not doing anything, you're just going back to the original number, which was 4. So the square root of x squared is just x. Okay, so in a neat way we can write this as x root 3. Okay, because we can't square root 3. So the answer is h equals x root 3. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave a thumbs up and subscribe, and leave a comment down below if you have any further questions or any further suggestions. Also, please check out our website www.studysmarttuition.com for further information about our online tuition services. So hope to see you soon. Thanks.